There we are. Welcome back, sports fans. Today we are going to be venturing forth into uh, our working title is what Griff Overwall's Academy of Learning, uh, where we take some replays from the BBPN Discord page and try to analyze and see where different coaches could improve. This first one is submitted by Wolfhowl, who is here in the chat with us, and hopefully we can all learn a little bit uh, from the review. So, what's going on? So, first thing first, analyze what player count's the first thing that comes to mind. So we see that we're 11 on 11. Not only are we 11 on 11, but the Bretonnians had to field 2 loners to make up their team. Um, of course, this replay system sucks, so I can't quite pull up while it's pause any inducements. But the other thing to notice is that they've only got 3 knights instead of the full 4, which means that even with them having Dauntless, the Orcs should have a strength advantage. There's no goblins here, there's no troll, but in my opinion, the Orcs don't really need the troll. And it's already deleted the skills. Oh, damn it. Thank you. Jancast replay system. So let's look at these added skills real quick. Dodge is a very typical skill to go on these knights, which means that the tackle is not lost in this early on in the season. Normally, I'm kind of weary about taking tackle super early, but it's going to come up hopefully in this match. Mighty Blow, very good skill. Guard, excellent skill. So, you can always take these and you will not be disappointed. So, went with block on a line work. You can give or take on this. The team already starts out with 4 block, and you typically are going to get block on your big guys too, on your blackworks. So having block makes sense because you want to keep everyone standing up so you can beat them down later with your mighty blow. Wrestle's not a bad pick on this team because he can take goblins, because lineworks can take dirty player pretty readily. Just having a means of taking blodgers down quickly and easily, and then being able to foul them with impunity. So, but again, block's fine. It has its purpose as well. The thrower here, tremendous thrower already. Rolled the agility up, rolled it, the doubles, took it, the dodge. He is all set. I know there's a lot of people that when they see a thrower and they see doubles pop up, they take their strong arm. I'm glad that we did end up taking that here because strong arm's just a bad skill. There's a reason why they reworked it in the new edition. It's worse than accurate, strictly speaking, because it doesn't affect quick passes. This is not a huge passing team to begin with, especially when you don't have goblins. So there's not a real need for it at all. So taking dodge means your dodge sure hands. So if once you pick up block, which hopefully is the next skill, if not the next 2 skills, because kickoff returns also a really good skill for orc throwers. You're going to be real hard to get the ball from. So block dodge is already really good. You throw sure hands in there that you start with, it means strip ball doesn't affect you either. So, taking a look at the Bretonnian squad. Seeing that the peasants have taken a beating with having the 2 loners is no surprise. They are still armor 7, and agility 2 means that they can't run away very easily. You're mainly waiting to get hit and hoping that the fend is enough to do the job. You've got all 4 wrestlers, which is nice. They're probably the most important piece on the team. More so, I would say, than knights. They're a little slower. They don't have the agility access, but starting wrestle and strength access are 2 huge assets to the team. So, I still think it's weird that their strength access is on a unit that gets wrestled, but there's nothing you can do with that. That's how the team's designed. So, like I said, dodge is pretty straightforward. The tackle here, not sure how I feel about that. Without taking a look at the rest of the division, tackle is not going to be useful at all in this matchup, again, because no goblins. Well, I guess it'll be useful on the thrower. Never mind. So, this is the priority target then, to try to watch out for. Movement 7, Dauntless means that he's a constant throw on the board. Thankfully, still AG3, so he can still fuck up from time to time. But that's it. 3 rerolls is quite a bit. For 70k, a reroll, 3 is a lot this early on. So, as opposed to only 2 on the Orks when they're cheaper. I know Wolfhowl's had to replace a couple of players. Orks are relatively cheap, but you know, they're still more expensive than a single game win. Single game win being 70k if you roll a 6. With Fame, you can possibly get 80k out of it, but again, this early on, it's a coin toss. Yeah, they have very similar fan factors as it is. It comes down to who rolls higher, so it's not anything to count on. So, going to be nice to see that 3rd reroll come in anytime, now that if you maintain this roster here. So, yeah, look, who ended up winning the coin toss? Kiyosama won the coin toss. They elected to receive. Not too shocking. I think Bretonnians are actually a pretty good team to go ahead and kick away with. The biggest worry would be seeing the Mighty Blow gain early game damage. Even if it's just removing one of the peasants, is 1 less unit on the field. So, but there's not a whole lot of other benefits strictly to receiving. But we'll go ahead and see how it goes. Both sides do have their apothecaries. Okay. So, this is the setup that Wolfhowl went ahead and gave. And there's multiple reasons why this is not great. Generally speaking, doesn't matter the matchup. You do not want to give more starting hits to your opponent than you have to. So that means no more than 3 players here on the line of scrimmage. You definitely don't want to be fielding on the wide zones. Because that's always the caveat, is that yes, this team is going to go first, but they're only going to get their minimum 3 hits here and then maybe a blitz. And then you get to kind of retaliate into that. Yes, you're big and strong. You've got the big uns, but they don't have their block. They don't have guard yet. You got a guard here. You've already set up your tackle piece off to the side. And while you're AG3 and movement 6, it still means that basically the midline right now is as far as you can reach with them. You've told Erieks it's okay to run down this side now with his blodgers. So there's nothing that's going to be able to stop him for a whole turn because your tackle's already set up to one side of the board. And again, with these big uns, he's got 3 Dauntless with block. So if we, here we go, display the skills again. If he wanted to, he could set up an assist around this block work and set up a knight to the diagonal here. As long as he has something to tie up this guy, whether it's a peasant or whatever, he's got a 2-die block here. He's already starting to create an opening. Similarly over here, if he sets up a piece here, sets up his other piece here, first action, move someone over here to cancel out this assist, you're looking at a 2-die block here. So now you've punched him with block on no block, you punch him with the possibility of even just pushing you there. Now he's got a huge area that he can run the rest of his team down. And that's with committing only a couple of players, some of which can move afterwards. Like if he puts his other dodge knight here, he can dodge away and then come down this pocket that he would form. So, obviously he's going to want to keep a knight back here. My guess is that you want to put the rookie knight back here. One is the one that you obviously want to try to level up, so getting him the ball early on is nice. And if the ball ends up being too far back, then he's going to be relatively safe from getting hit. So not having blodge is not a problem. So the 2 blodgers you have then become options for handoff or pass plays, because they do have that starting catch. So generally speaking, whoever is a safe ball carrier, if they have catch, you don't have them be the one to pick up the ball. You want to have them as an option to give the ball to, not the ones that already have it. So, peasants, you can obviously screen very nicely. Defend is going to slow down anything trying to come into your backfield. This is LRB 6, so the yeomen don't have their wrestle or don't have their stand firm yet, but that just means that their job is protecting whoever has the ball, either back here or running down here to start forming a downfield cage. So that's part of the problem in setting up this aggressively, is that you've given him too many options. So now he doesn't even have to burn a blitz to open a hole. So, and if he wanted to be really aggressive, he could use that hole instead of running players down, just to throw a blitz on your thrower with his tackle piece. And that could spell bad news later on in the game if that's successful. Okay, so I know Erieks isn't the one that submitted the replay, but we'll go ahead and review this setup as well. Again, you want to have at least one of your knights back here just because they're the higher movement piece. But the tackle one should not be the one to do it. The tackle one should be screening for this guy all game. Your event is the beginning of the game. AG4 is going to be a problem. You know he's going to be the ball carrier at the very least next half. You want to have this tackle piece out searching for this guy, so he should not be the one back here. Either one of these two would have been acceptable. I would prefer this one to be the one in the back here, but overall is completely scared of this front here. So whether this was meant to be an intimidation play or not, it has seemed to work on this coach. So because he is now losing out on part of the advantage of receiving first, which is being able to throw blocks first, getting that first blood in, and doubly so, these peasants are not going to go anywhere. It's a 4+ to run away. They don't have dauntless. You don't have enough guard. You didn't commit enough of them. They're not going to punch their way out of this, they're not going to be able to flee very easily out of this. So the Orcs got what they wanted from this front play, but I think a more skilled coach would see through it. So bear that in mind in future games. Both teams lose a turn. That's good for the Orcs, I think, if they can hold this. Which, again, given the fact that the Bretonnians did not try to set out to break anything through, you've already stalled them out plenty with this setup, and now they just lost a turn. So now they're going to start feeling the clock grind early on. So, had they set up more to punch through this, the loss in the clock would have hurt the Orcs instead, because they would have had less time to run it back. Okay. So he threw his blitz, but that did nothing. He's just going to get punched in the face by this line orc now. Especially since he didn't try dodging away, just to create a downfield threat. There's nothing that's going on here. This player is potentially even going to get surfed. If you wanted to take a little bit of risk on the orc side. We'll see how the rest of this goes, but failed to pick up. Failed to pick up. Now, is there anything else that you should have done before attempting that and running the reroll? Unfortunately, no. That's the problem. Maybe move another wrestle piece down here. I wouldn't horribly mind doing that. One, because it protects this blocker from getting surfed. Two, it puts your wrestle pieces up on the pieces that already have block. And it adds a little bit more pressure here to where you blitzed. So now the Orcs have to respond to this. Because he didn't, like I said, that can be dealt with. There maybe move the thrower over here, but that's all the Orcs need to do to respond to this play, because nothing was done by the Bretonnian team. So, yep, go ahead and stand up. So what do you need to do? So, obviously you can punch here. And if it's a push, I go ahead and push him there, away from this orc. That allows him to come around with the blitz for the surf. If you get the knockdown, put him here and follow up. That leaves this orc free to do whatever he needs to. Standing this guy up before you roll any dice is a good move. Always appreciate that. But I do think this needs to be your first block, just because your black orcs do not have block yet, and you're kind of starved on rerolls right now. So, see how that goes, and see what you can pull off from there. Okay, you got the knockdown. Squared up. Excellent. The KO is gravy at this point, but now you have freed up your tackle piece, which is even better. I know it's tempting to try to run the tackle downfield, but given how many free players you're not going to be able to tie up easily, I would not do that. Again, get your tackle somewhere center. This is where he needs to be. You know that he's positioning to run the ball with a dodge piece. That's where your tackle should be concerned. As far as next actions, you could potentially have, what is this, Indigo? Yeah. Indigo throw this block here. They'll free up a black work to try and move up more aggressively onto this blocker. That's going to be a terrible time for the blocker because he does not have Dauntless, and Wrestle doesn't terribly help him. So, you've got your guard and your Mighty Blow piece. Ideally, you'd be blitzing with the Mighty Blow. any turn he's not hitting something is a turn wasted. So, again, with the exception if you have a guarantee removal in the case of a surf. So, the given how early the game is, yes, you're already up a player, but take the easier peasants out. It'll help make sure that your black orcs are free to move around as they are needed and not being distracted by the peasants. Again, while he wants to focus his blockers on your blitzers to help nullify your block with his Rustle, you want nullify his blockers with your black orcs, because their biggest downfall is not having block, and then he has to weigh the option of, do I want to wrestle and continue to play, or do I want to force a turnover but risk getting hurt because he has a lower armor value than your black orcs. So blitzing these peasants, obviously take your free hits where you can before committing the blitz, especially while you haven't burnt your reroll yet, but that's where the priority should be. Early 1 and 9. Okay, so you hit it with him. It makes sense to try to put all the Fen boys together. You can keep them all knitted together. They're not going to run. They're really not going to run away with that AG2. You also correctly put them next to your other players, which is good, knowing that they've got defend. But it didn't do anything to advance yourself. So yes, as a player on his back, and you had the potential to hurt him, but this orc isn't freed up by that play. If you had thrown it the other way, then you will have freed up at least a black orc to move downfield. Okay. Why is he moving here? You gave Erieks everything he wanted. You put a block piece on his wrestle. You're only marking one thing standing up, so your guard's not doing anything for you. If you moved here, it's at least more understanding, because then you're now surrounded by 3 players. Yes, you're still next to Russell, but I don't know. It's still not great, but it's a strictly better position than where you're at right now. I will have saved the guard until you feel like you need it. I know you feel like you need a move because you just burnt your reroll on the second block of the game. And you're kind of worried about throwing more blocks with your black orcs. But keeping them here at least helps keep this side solid. Because if you do throw a block and you roll 1 and 9 or double skulls, you just made this an easy blitz. So this blocker walks up, he throws the blitz, keeps him tied up with the assisting blocker, runs downfield, pick up the ball, continue running downfield. So you've made yourself a weakness in multiple spots with that movement there. Okay. So you took the risk. You went after a higher priority target, being one of those blockers with Mighty Blow. Again, I really hesitate on anything like that. Again, he's got the Wrestle, which means that's one less result on each die that you're going to be able to use your Mighty Blow to hurt him, because if he wrestles you, Mighty Blow does nothing. Because they've got the higher armor, just as much as the Knights do. Knights have dodge, you might as well just blitz them. At least block would keep you upright and with your tackle zones. So, you end up rolling a 7, which ironically had you hit one of the linemen, you would have been able to use Mighty Blow to break the armor and potentially gotten another removal there. So at the very least, a stun. A stun is not nothing. So it's the player is not acting for a turn, and he needs players to at least be in the way right now. So, but you've also completely left this side open now. Yeah, you can potentially free up this blockwork to run down here, which wouldn't be a bad move. You can potentially move this thrower over here, but the thrower cannot be the one alone, and the blockwork will not be enough alone, because again, Dauntless. Okay. So, I don't like this block either. Again, you know he's going to be using Fend. So, if that was a push, you just gave him a free roaming piece. Versus if you hit him, if you push, you've at least got this blitzer here now. And it frees up 2 players. Same type of unit, same type of damage being done. There's no other benefits to hitting this guy. It was just, you're lucky you got the stun, but luck doesn't justify a bad move. So, okay. Alright, I don't mind that light orc movement. That line orc movement's pretty solid. I'm still really worried about how free this side is. Oof. That was a lot of rolls to get your tackle down here. And again, he's got a lot of free players right now. This line arc's either going to have to dodge or throw a 1-die block, which neither one of those are favorable actions to do right now. And you've got your thrower here. Your thrower's not going to be able to reach down here. So I'm not really sure what you plan to do with this. But, so this piece. You've got this blocker that, unless the line orc moves up to cover him, he's going to be free to help free this ball up. You've got this blocker that can do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the assist. And then you can blitz with this blocker, wrestle the blitzer on down. It'll remove the tackle zones, so he gains his tackle back. It leaves this blitzer free to move back downfield if he feels too threatened. But again, once he does that blitz, that's a 3+ dodge with a dodge reroll, 3+ pickup with a team reroll, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 handoff, and then he's gone. And you've got nothing down here to stop him. So, because he outpaces your team. Okay. This thrower did nothing. Quite literally, it did nothing. It marked a piece that was already being marked twice. It avoided the piece that needed to be marked in order to maybe help secure this ball a little bit more. Are you worried that he's going to block you? The only thing your thrower can be hit by is a POW or a both down. If he uses both down on you, you're the same armor value, and he's probably going to pick Wrestle off of that. So, and that's assuming that he throws the 1-die at all. And at least being there, you stop this player from moving forward if you felt so inclined to dodge to come back here. Covered this side just as much being there as you do being there. So, but do you move this guy? And again, this was another risky play. He's got block when you don't. There's a 1 die. If you fail that, he then can Dauntless throw a 2 die block here, freeing up a peasant to run around as an assist. Potentially even making this blitz coming up even easier. You roll the push, which is about the average result that you can hope for there. Yes, it kind of makes things harder for him. But if this peasant can stand up, canceling this assist, this peasant can throw a block there, and now he's got a blitzer available. So now he would have a blitzer with catch on either side of the field to get the ball to. If you had just stayed there, then he can't if he throws the Dauntless block, it's 1 assist to 1 assist. It's a 1 die block. Still in his favor, but not nearly as much. And it's definitely a more risky play. It's not something he's going to prioritize, which means he may not even be able to do it. So, are there any good plays? Like I said, I like that you started out with this block. You did everything that you needed to start with, but it's a matter of thinking about where your opponent's going to go next. It's not just throwing blocks for the sake of throwing blocks. You don't have the safety skills, as you already had to burn a reroll early on, one of your 2. You don't have the Mighty Blow to do reliable damage off of that. Sometimes you just gotta let your opponent roll dice. Anytime you make your opponent roll dice, there's a chance that they fail. And if they fail something, they could potentially hurt themselves. 9 times out of 10. There's a handful of things like picking up the ball or anything. You can. I mean, yes. If you're in a position where you can afford to maximize blocks as well as put the pressure downfield, that's great. But you don't want to put... This is false pressure. Bretonnians are a flex team. They're not an aggressive team. If you were playing another aggression team, this would be great. Because they're not going to be able to... You're going to have to either be forced to retreat to recover the ball, or do something insanely risky. Being a flex team, you've got... Yeah, you put all your eggs in one basket here. Your only answer to his dodge is back here. Yeah. That's it. The maximizing of blocks that you took ended up deterring things, and that's where Bretonnians are the trick. Have their trick. You know, the more often that you try to maximize your blocks against a Bretonnian team, with their wrestle, with their fend, the more you play into their hand. Sometimes the answer against this particular team, because of the skills they start with, until you get further on in development, is to let them make the errors. So, because again, peasants are fine, are nice and squishy, but as soon as you let them free, that's how they get away. That's how they make up for the agility 2s, by allowing the pushes and defend to do the job for them. So, I say this as the expert in peasants. So, he stands up players. Easy enough. Moves that player on back. Not sure I would have thrown this block first, but good enough. And sure enough, there we go. There's the blitz. So he didn't get rid of the tackle entirely. Um, he still has the tackles on the ball, um, which doesn't make it entirely awful. Um, if you dodge out to here on 3 with your dodge reroll, you're going back in for a 4+ instead of a 3+ pickup to dodge back out on a 3+ no reroll. Would this have been an opportunity to go ahead and burn a reroll? Potentially, but he's already burnt one of his 3. Both sides burnt an early reroll. Yeah, that's also part of the problem is the angle that he took there. We go back. So it may be cyanide pathing. Because yeah, if he comes in here squared up, then that push comes out to here, and then he's golden. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that it's cyanide pathing and not him pathing, but again, he's been playing the game long enough that he should know better. But same with this dodge here. Why you're giving yourself a square back for doing a harder dodge. And he rolls a 5, so he's not punished by it. Okay, he burnt the reroll there. Okay, so now he's got the blodger with the ball. He's got this blitzer free. This should be the next move. Just move him down 7. And all these are black Orks. They all move the same. Coming around here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's 2 GFIs to go over here. Probably not, since he burnt a reroll. So I guess just run him downfield as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just as someone to recover the ball if something were to happen to this player. But running over here does nothing for you. Don't run your players towards the center of the field if you don't have to. So, basically all he's done here is make it easier for this free blitzer to come punch him in the face. And because he didn't run as far back forward as he could have, this black orc can even reach him. Hell, this blitzer with guard can reach him. So this is all kinds of bad movement on Erieks' play. So the player with the ball dictates where everyone else that's going to be helping protect them goes. So if the player with the ball only moves 4, your cage only moves 4. If he is on one side of the field, you better move haul ass over to that side of the field. So, and he threw the ball with no reroll to spend. And he clearly didn't measure this out earlier, because yeah, he didn't measure this out because he could have easily been 1 square closer, maybe even 2 squares closer, made a quick pass that would have been an accurate pass then. Yeah. I don't know if he was flustered by all of that, if that's the case. You know, then the pressure worked. That wouldn't surprise me, given how he retaliated to the aggressive setup. But Alright. So you started out with a block here. I don't mind that. The big question for you that you need to ask before you threw any dice is who's going to be coming back here to throw the hit. So this Blitzer's the ideal choice because he's free and he's in range. This line orc can move back, can get back there in 2 GFIs for the assist. This Blitzer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can get their own 1 GFI if you manage to hit the right targets, which you do have here. This is definitely the safest block to throw. It's a good job there. I still probably will have moved this black work downfield just to make sure this guy's not going anywhere. There's not much else for the black work to do right now, and you don't need them later. So basic moves first before you roll dice. Okay. Mighty Blow did his job. Got a removal there. Second time's the charm. Fend, go ahead and push him there. Good job. Okay. Here's the problem. You started out freeing up this guy. Did you not see that he could reach the same spot with 1 fewer GFIs? Because 2-die block is going to be always safer than any 3+ roll. And that's effectively what you're looking at here. You have 2 chances on the die to fail on the 2 GFIs. So, alright, you didn't see that. That's fair. It's not totally intuitive. But at the same time, if this was your play, the play that mattered, then this should have been the first thing you do even before this block. No, even with this being safer. Because nothing matters if this play doesn't happen. Now, Good Time may reasonably disagree with that analysis, but that's the way I look at things. So. Yep, this blork should have been moved earlier. Maximize your movement. You only move 3 here. You could move 4 and then 1 square further downfield. Especially when he outpaces you and you know he's likely going to dodge away. So the less the less distance you give up, the better off you'll be. So. Okay. You pushed him into there. I assume you're looking to throw this block, which at this point is not a bad decision, but I don't know. I certainly would look at this far more cautiously, seeing a blodger down here and seeing your tackle way down here, and I would still want to move more players back downfield where the play is. As it is right now, before you threw this block, you're just tagging the ball. He's a blodger. He just needs a 1-die push. He's got a reroll. It's perfectly doable. If he picks up the ball, you're going to struggle as all hell to knock him down, because you're fishing for pals then. Moving another player downfield, you see that he's got 1 peasant that's not going to make it very far, 1 that's completely open to help nullify this. You got this player that's going to help nullify the play. You have this blitzer here that also needs to be tied up. Now, obviously, you don't want to tie him up with your thrower, So your lineman's probably going to be the one to do the job. The other thing is that this peasant now has kind of blocked off your thrower. Because now he can't cut this... he can still cut the straight diagonal. It's just now you have to make a dodge that you didn't need to previously. So, because you're going to want your thrower down here to help recover the ball. You can do it with blitzers, but 4+ sure hands is always going to be easier. So, you commit this lineman down here. This play does not matter. Yes, he's now tied up 2-2, in which case you actually want to move your lineman into the diagonal corner here. That way, when neither side has guard, it's one die no matter what. So he doesn't have a choice. He's not going to look at this as, oh, I just need to throw one die block here. Wrestle or push or pow will take care of him. Now this player's free. If you move the lineman into this corner, now they're both tied up, no matter how you split it. They're both committed to throwing blocks. So if you're going to commit this player in here, that's how you should approach it. So don't give your opponent options on how they want to free their players, or which player they want to free. So through that block, solid. Pushed him into another player. I like that a lot, especially when it's the mighty blow. Why? Is it just so you can throw another block? All that matters is down here. Nothing down here matters. So, and again, you've left multiple players open. While you're doing good, sometimes you're doing really well, and you're pushing more players into other players, so that the defend is nullified. But you've got 3 players that are all completely unmarked, allowing your opponent to do whatever he wants with them. Okay? And you wrestled. Yep. Keep the blockworks tied up is exactly what he wants to do there. And he's going to blitz with this one. Honestly, I probably would have pushed him into the wall. That's unfortunate. Push him into the ball, because worst case scenario, the ball bounces into your blodger's hands. Not a big deal. None of the other squares are really threatening. It also means that this player, when he stands up, is next to a player and can't move around. So, I don't mind a GFI. So, your down players, you want to be able to get your KOs to roll to wake up. Running it in, not a big deal. Again, if you had pushed him into the ball, you probably would have been in a safer position to not have to run that GFI in. Because then everyone that can touch you is now having to run a 3+ with no rerolls. But yeah, no Apo. Ball gets tossed in. That's not a horrible toss for either team. So, you've still got the 2 blodgers that are a huge threat. This one can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quick pass and run it in. Yeah, because he's not going to be able to pick it up and score it himself. Even if he doesn't, even if he just picks up the ball and holds it, again, your tackle's out of the way, you've got no wrestle. Right, exactly what I was saying earlier. If he had ran this way, he didn't necessarily have to risk it. He would have ended here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would have tagged it. If he cuts the corner on a 3+ with 2 GFIs, he could have pulled off the blitz. But again, that's a matter of how risky are you willing to do to stop the play, and when it's the difference of does an AV 9-piece trip at some point on normal turf versus stopping the entire play, I I take the risk with the blitzer and do what's necessary, and I think Wolfhowl would too. Um, so the fact that this piece is completely unmarked, I think warrants the GFI to try to score it up. So, but now, see, imagine if this thrower had ran downfield, or he would have been right here next to this black work. Would have been prime position to try to recover this ball this turn. But instead, you went down here to commit to that play. So, what are your options now? You have a blitzer here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That at least marks it. Ideally, you want to pick up the ball. And it's a GFI and a 3+. You've got a black work here that can take a free block. You got another black work here that can come in through and throw a blitz. Or this one can cover the ball and this one can throw a blitz. Yeah, this blitzer here needs to make sure he marks this blitzer. So 3, 4, 5, probably there. So make him have to roll the dice. He's due for a 1 and 9. So this is a fine tie up here. That's probably the best case scenario for you. Don't worry about throwing this block. This block is fine, but it's a lesser priority. This is a one-on-one. I really wouldn't. Not until maybe if you clear this up. But I don't see that happening. This blitzer stands up. Again, your thrower can dodge away at any time and run back downfield towards the play. It leaves this squared up here. That's fine. So, this is a turn where you should be throwing limited amounts of blocks. You have a huge player advantage. Make him have to roll dodges. He's out of rerolls. Mark the ball. First play. Absolutely. Push. Excellent. Now, because he went ahead and moved him first, it's counterintuitive to push the blitzer closer to the ball, but if you put him there, he's looking at 4+ or a blitz out. Now he can dodge out on a 3+ to go wherever he needs to. If you put him there, he's pinched. He's dodging into a tackle zone where he's going to have to declare a blitz, in which case the ball is going to be... this player at least is not going to be scoring with the ball. Just because he then can't pass it and he doesn't have the movement to score. So, but I don't mind the fact that he threw the block. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to try. Okay. This black work, on the other hand, if you're going to take the block here, this black work should have taken the blitz here. This is the threat. So, this peasant's not going to do anything. He's going to be in the way and stop this blitzer from going anywhere, which is a-okay, because his job is to punch things. So, yeah. This guy took way too long to stand up. Standing up should, generally speaking, be one of your first things you try. Why would you follow up on here? So, if he stands up both these players, these are cancel assists on your next turn. That's following up did nothing for you. So outside of now he can't stand up and blitz, but this is not where he's going to be blitzing. This is where he's going to be blitzing. So these two players are next to the blitzer. All you needed to do was push him. You were fine. So again, I still would have liked the thrower to run downfield. You've got the AG4 and dodge. Use the AG4 and dodge to your advantage. But yeah, anytime you can trade one player out of position for two players out of position, you're golden. Right now, you're committing 3 players to his 2. So that basically pretend this player's not in the KO box because of this play. Normally, I would be critical of this block. However, it's a relatively squishy target, and the worst case scenario is that you roll push. Well, worst case scenario, you roll a skull and kill yourself. But statistical average, you roll a push. He's freed up over here. The only thing this peasant's going to be able to do for him on his next turn is lend an assist to one of these 3 blocks. And realistically, while this one could blitz, it's not the highest priority for him. Because if he blitzes, he's still not picking up the ball. He's looking at a 5+ with no rerolls. So, because movement 6 gets him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could theoretically have gotten the peasant over here, so that this blitzer could blitz out. But so this was a relatively safe block, so I'm fine with this. This is A-okay. You punched a soft dude. It just didn't work out this time. This should not have been a block you throw. It was a 1-die, means it's way riskier than the 2-die block was. He's going to fend away, so he's going to be able to roam around. You happen to get the pal, but that wasn't guaranteed. It's a loner, so you know he's not going to risk anything. Because most players, and this is a secret, most players don't pay attention to the fact that loner means nothing when you have no rerolls. Because it doesn't. If you have no team rerolls, loner does not exist. So at this point, he's on par with this guy. Knockdown on which one? The black work blocking? Yeah, he could get a knockdown on stumbles and pals, which would be, what, 11 out of 36? Something like that? No, that would just be POWs. POW and stumbles add another 9. So 20 out of 36. Yeah, 20 out of 36 is what it would be it for a 2 die looking for POWs. So it's but the you could consider the both down fine, but that's what I'm saying is that like pushes was the worst case non-terminal standpoint. So if you didn't if you avoided the 1 in 9, uh, from there you're looking at pushes. Pushes weren't a problem, and I said I was okay with this block. So yeah, stumble and pow. Uh, like I said, in a 2 die block, pals make up a 11 out of the 36, and then from there stumbles would be a. I understand what you're saying. Let's see if I can spawn in some dice here. Um, Objects. D6s. That'll work. So, if we want to switch over here. So, oops. So, assuming that on these we say that pals are 6s, stumbles are 5s, right? You could have a number on 1 die, as long as it's a 6, you're fine. And actually, this is just bad. Pull up Excel. Because my mind always pictures a table. There we go. So, there we are. So, of the 36 possible combinations on the dice, you have the 12 here, you have the 8 here. That's 20. 20 out of 36. Which reduces down to 20 out of 36 becomes 10 out of 18. That's not what I meant. Please stop changing my numbers. Excel. Which is about half. These would be a turnover. So we'll go ahead and coat those in red. Whoever red is. Pushes are neutral. So if he rolls a stumble or a pal on either die, it's fine. Doesn't matter what the second die is. which is why all these and all these would be okay. Does that make sense? Maybe I did say that. If I did, I misspoke. Uh, so, because yeah, push would then be, what, 12 out of 36, which that would be 1/3. So, a little less than, but yeah, it's less likely. Yeah, this was a perfectly fine thing. Um, the one die block, very much less so. So, again, I've generally speaking not had a problem with him throwing the 2 die blocks. It's a matter of when they happen and where he sends them to. So, the 1 die blocks are the bigger problem. Because 1 die block is much more likely to come back and bite him. At that point, pushes are just about as problematic as both downs. So, and again, even here, because of where you ended up pushing him, you were squared up, and you just send him straight back, which gave him the opportunity to come up and assist this block here. Right. So, if you sent him here, now he's 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess he can still reach it. But, and that's where the, as Iceblade is pointing out, the state of things is not just purely does the block work, but does what are the odds that even being on the ground is okay? Because, again, this player being on the ground like he was, took us that far back. But when he's on the ground in any of these 3 spots, if you don't break armor, it's a problem. Whereas this guy, he's not going to be able to come down here and help out with this blitzer. He can maybe help this blitzer, but this one doesn't want to throw a block. This one wants to run away and potentially pick up the ball. Because throwing the block is a losing battle for him at this point. Even with Dauntless, yeah, you may win the block, but you're not going to recover the ball. And that's the problem right now. So, this piece can at least help free up another blitzer, which is a problematic piece for the Ork team. So even if this was a 2-die block, I'm not sure that I would have liked him throwing this. Because again, yes, he may succeed in knocking him down more than likely, but he still is looking at a 42% chance in breaking the armor after that. And you need to at least break the armor to make sure that the fend doesn't keep giving him a free piece. So, now, he didn't do anything with this peasant, which I think is a mistake. Because this line orc is the least problematic orc on the field right now. is the naked line orc is the weakest orc beast on the field. Marking it is not a problem right now, or not a priority right now. Marking a blitzer, far more important, because it's got block, it's got movement. It allows you to blitz out with a blitzer instead of having to dodge. So I don't mind this lineman moving where he did. So yep, he comes out, he tries to pick up the ball. Can't blame a guy for trying. He's desperate right now. Now, I understand you want to pick up the ball with the blitzer, because he's a better AG. However, you're out of rerolls. You just saw your opponent do a very desperate act, so you know his state of mind. Get him off the ball. If you get a push, or worse, you roll what you did, which is the 1 and 9, then you can throw the follow-up block with the less safe black work. But if you get a push, you get him off the ball, you can surround the ball with 2 black works, guaranteeing that he's not going to be able to get to that ball next turn without a fight. This was too much risk with not enough reward. Yes, you can pick up the ball, but you've still got time to pick it up. If this were turn 6, you got a better cause for it. Turn 5, you don't have to start moving that ball back anytime soon. So you've got an open blitzer here that can also move back downfield. Which you probably should have done before throwing any blocks regardless. This black work is enough to keep these peasants in place. So even if you want to throw a blitz, move this big one around, throw this blitz, use your mighty blow, try to get another piece off the field. These were fine, not being used. You didn't stand up this lineman at all. This was a new overeager play. So now with the ball where it's at, you've got no tackle zones on it. This is going to be a simple dodge pickup play. Of course, he still can't pick up the ball worth a damn, but okay. What else did it? He just stood everyone up, which is a-okay. That's all he can do with those pieces right now. So, you have a black work throwing a block here. Again, why? Yeah, if the thrower was down here, that could have been nice. If the tackle piece was down here instead of down there. Yeah. Good times good, or completely right on that. This is now 4 turns after the fact that this thrower should have been making his way back down here. And now you're so desperate to free a blitzer because it's your best agility option that you're throwing blocks with unprotected black works. So, and even without looking at the result, you need to punch him, right? So, knocking him down is going to be unlikely because your tackle's not here. And block doesn't really help you at all. So why would you not make this the safe block? He's already tagging the ball. You don't need a follow-up, not that you're going to be able to, because he's got fend. And then that frees the black work to come and blitz here. That way you have a built-in 2-die blitz. You don't need any assist that this guy would need. And you're fishing for pushes anyways. So you've got this black work here who's just standing there for a second turn in a row. It's possible that he could have come to follow up on this block, because again, he's going to defend. You move him to mark the peasant afterwards. That could have been fine, but it even looks like he's not paying attention to the play, because he's not. He has no idea what he's doing. So, you didn't stand up this lineman. Again, this should have been a first thing. Again, this thrower should have been doing something, and he's not. Even if he dodged around to make this into a 2-die block somewhere, something relatively safe, didn't happen. So, instead, boom, and you injured yourself. No accounting for that, but you could have prevented the 1 in 9 entirely. Yeah. So, he goes for the blitz because he's got no friends. Honestly, he should have moved this blitzer. I mean, it's got dodge. It's another 1 in 9 to turn this into an easier blitz and put another tackle zone on the ball just in case he fails to pick up yet again. I think this blitzer would have been better served over here. 5, 6, 7. Even right here, that would have tied up both of these players. And this blitzer wouldn't be able to catch up with him because he moves slower. But he got the push. He failed to pick up yet again. So, now you threw the blitz on here, but this is one where it would have been fine for you to push him into the ball. You're unlikely to score the ball. So what's the worst case that happens if you push him into the ball? The ball bounces into the black orc that put him there? Okay, you've got a chance out of 6 to catch the ball. Okay. Worst case from there is that it bounces back into his hands. He's got 2 attempts at 5 to catch the ball. But now instead, he's upright. He's too far away for you to really sandwich well, and you didn't remove the tackle zone from the ball that you're looking for. Okay, that's about as good of a bounce as you can ask for. So, outside maybe here. Okay, block on block. Alright. Could he have done something better? Yeah, kind of. Like I said, he's not moved his blitzer at all. He was just as capable of throwing the 1-die blitz to try to shove you off the ball. But also, this player, if he picks up the ball, can't do anything with it. It's a dead half then. Because he picks up the ball, he doesn't have the movement here, and because he blitzed, he can't hand it off. So that was a misplay on Erieks' part. So now you know, because that was his turn 8, that you've got a turn 8 just to beat him down. You can maybe do a bullshit pass, but you're up 3 players. So that was a pretty big removal that happened there. That's one of his two blodgers. I would honestly try to get this guy on the ground and foul him. Okay. So this is the pass play that you were proud of. I mean, it's a risk, and that's like I said, you had two two options there. You either try to get further ahead on the body count, because these KOs can very easily wake up, and then you're back to 10 on 10. Or you could try to do something bullshit. And you try something bullshit, it worked out this time. You at least didn't waste the turn. So I will congratulate that. Yep, Iceblade is right. You probably could have moved over a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that still would probably clip the peasant here. So if you just move the black work out of the way and you didn't throw this block at all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. But you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if we take a look, there's that handy little chart. Yeah, 4x10 would have made it a bomb. So going too far over will have changed the throwing range. So 2x10, which I think is what he ended up doing. Yeah. That's one of the nice things about Cyanide is that you can project your movement and measure it from each of there. It's a good asset to have. So I assume Wolfhowl did that. Oh, he just did straight up 10. So I know my quick and my short pass tables, but once you get past that, I don't have those memorized. See, all 3 KOs came back, which is the fear. So now it's 10 on 10. I still think this is in your favor, though. So, you've got 1 blodger off the pitch. Means your tackle's got 1 guy to worry about, which is a good position to be in. You're down a black work, but he lost a Dauntless. Again, A-okay. Yeah, what should be the mentality here? Well, we first have to see how Erieks sets up. That is true. You are in a very nice position where you have possession of the ball and you're up a point, which is fantastic. For a very hardy team like Orks, that's excellent. Um, Honestly, this is where I would get cocky and start looking at, can one of my Blackworks try to pick up the ball once and to get a score? Indigo here, if he runs the ball in, would get a level up. So that would be very tempting. I wouldn't waste too much time on it, but I would put one of them back here. Put Indigo back here as your protection for, at the very least, for your thrower. So, but what should be your setup here? You've got a bunch of blitzers. Yeah, versus an AG3 team. So, you've got all 4 of your blitzers here. You can position your guard in between here, in between 2 pieces. Throw your Mighty Blow here. So that way you've got the diagonal to try to push defend piece into more pieces so he's not free to run away. And on the other side, you can do something similar. Put your other 2 blitzers here. Maybe a blitzer and your block lineman. So that way you keep your tackle blitzer back here. Try to keep an eye out for this dodge piece. I would also position your black works forward, somewhere on the line of scrimmage here. Big thing is that if you get the quick snap, you want to push those black works right up on there. Worst case scenario, Erieks gets the perfect defense or a blitz, in which case, oh no, he has to commit to punching a black work. Good luck. So, putting a black work there, putting some other secondary there in the wings, just to make sure that you help cover the wide zones, I think is fine. So, again, a perfect defense isn't going to screw that up a whole lot. The worst case scenario is a blitz, but there's not a whole lot you can do against a blitz to begin with. So, and that would be black work here, black work, black work. There's layer 3. Blitzer, blitzer, lineman, blitzer. You've got your thrower back here. That leaves a lineman and your tackle blitzer. So maybe they aren't in the wings. Maybe they're tucked inward. So there's a very narrow gap that he could run around here. But if he does that, you've got players that can move back pretty comfortably. So good, black work there. He is open to being blitzed. You are right. So, okay. So you went with this sub. It kills me. It's off center. It's off center as all hell. Not only do you have an open gap on this side, you don't even have the black works all the way there. This middle section is a bit off center as well. You've positioned this black work head on with the peasant, which means that when you block him, he's going to go flying and you won't be engaged with anyone. Whether you knock him down or not, that doesn't matter. You should always plan that you're going to not knock him down. So, you need to be at this diagonal, make sure that you're pushing him towards other players. At the very least, it gives him more opportunities to maximize blocks. If you roll a push, this guy can punch him in the face next. If you push him back here, now you have to burn a blitz. So, you did the same thing with the Mighty Blow piece. These two should be swapped. That way the Mighty Blow goes inward. So, failed to pick up. Alright. So you're throwing a couple blocks, it's fine. You threw it with the diagonal there, I like that. It's a bad day to be this peasant. Fortunately, these peasants got blocked down. Okay, you're taking the blitz on the blodger while you can. Nice. Don't take the push. Don't take the push and isolate yourself there. Take the both down. If you take the both down, then he has to either run away or commit more players in order to punch back. Now he just needs to commit one peasant to punching you back. He didn't even follow up. And now you went and marked a whole different piece that you don't want to be next to. Twice. So, I don't mind the Black Orc marking a blocker. I just mind the Black Orc marking a blocker that's already being marked. So, you left this one open to run past everything. At the very least, this Black Orc should have been here to help close the gap. Better yet, you tuck him in there. This guy should never have left him. Even if you take the push, you don't leave him. You make him have to blitz out again, because you only get one blitz. That is a resource. Or you make him have to dodge away without being able to use his dodge skill. Instead, you just, oh, I didn't roll the PAL, I guess you're free to go. So, same on this side. Black Orc can go there, move the Line Orc in. That'll be fun. Okay. Again, you left another yeoman able to run past and do whatever he wants. You don't have a dedicated receiver on your team. And the thrower does not move terribly fast. So this pressure that he's applying here is actually kind of massive. Because he's going to outmaneuver you. If there's one piece on his team that's going to be able to take you down, it's him, because his tackle's now removed. The yeomen are the thrower's biggest predator right now. So, someone needs to come back here and mark him. Preferably the Black Orc. This thrower should be moving this way. Put as much distance between you and the pressure player as possible. This side seems to be under relative control as opposed to this side. So this is where you should be heading. And it should be one of your earliest moves. I don't mind standing up. This Black Orc, it should be perfectly fine to go ahead and punch this yeoman, because you can at least follow up on him and still be marking the peasant. I don't mind putting this lineman on here. So unfortunately, your tackle piece is now occupied because he went in to go play with other friends. So again, what is this doing? You already marked him. Guard should have been over here. If guard and tackle were swapped, this would be an amazing play. You'd have to tackle on the guy who dodged and guard in the middle of two players. But instead, you moved guard to tag a person that's already tagged and not even touching the down player, so you have guard in position for next turn. So you've left a peasant open to run downfield and cause more mayhem for you. And you just ran straight downfield. You are in blitz range. You should not be. And he's got a peasant that can move in adjacent to you. For a pass play, that was an incredible risk that did not need to be made. It was pointed out at the beginning, you are in the driver's seat. You are up a point, you have control of the ball. There's no rush right now to score. The only value scoring has right now is a couple SPP. But you have no KOs that you need to try to fish to come back. You're already winning. All that does is get you to set back up. And then he's going to get first punches back. So, the faster you score, the faster that he gets the ball back to try to return it back. And the more risks you take in doing so means that he's more likely to be able to steal the ball back and make this a 1-1 game. Okay. Mute is black work here, which I think is great. But this blitzer needed to step over one. Right now, you have a peasant here that's going to be able to stand up and punch you in the face. Don't give him that opportunity. Make him have to either take a risky 1 die to open up a hole, make another risky 1 die somewhere over here to make a hole. If you step over 1 square, nothing has a direct access to you. Even these players would have to run around to try to get here, and you're looking at GFIs and dodges then. So, this is not safe right now, and you should not be throwing blocks while the ball is not safe. But you did throw that block that I said was fine. You made a cage, and then you ran out of the cage. This player has dodge. He has dodge, and you have moved your tackle piece willingly away from him. He has 3 rerolls. This is an AG3 team. He's got a 3+ for one of these guys to dodge away for an assist. He's got a built-in dodge to dodge out on a 3+ and blitz you and knock the ball free into some of his other players, creating a new scrum over here. You may have more players over here, but it doesn't matter if this asshole gets the ball. Okay. I don't like this block that he did. Yes, he frees up a blitzer, but it's too early. This blocker needs to come over here. I think this was a very good peasant move on Erieks' part. If he moves his blocker here, he creates a pinch for the thrower. He's still AG4 with the dodge skill, but it's just that much harder for him to move away if things go south. Like I said, this was a premature stand-up. This is one where analyzing what the play needs to be comes in handy. Because normally, yeah, autopilot, stand this player up before you do anything else, fine. But this player's not going to be able to dodge out to assist on the ball. This player could have. So... I'm not particularly fond of the angle he went, because something like what just happened could happen. Because you don't want this yeoman to have the ball, even if he caught it. Because he's got wrestle. As soon as someone like this blitzer punches him, if he has to use his wrestle, he's going to go down, and the ball's free again. He should have come in from down here and angled upward, so that the only people that the ball could possibly hit or bounce into are the people that you want to have the ball, who also have catch, so they have a reroll built in. And if the ball lands out in the open over here, you've got a wall of people between any orc and where the ball would be. So instead he pushed it here, where if it bounces over here, then you're in danger of, oh no, I have to pick up the ball, or it might go out of bounds. Or it could have bounced into a player who's in a tackle zone, so you're looking at 5+. If it goes out, then it comes out over here. That happens to me all the fucking time, because the dice hate me. And now he had to engage the tackle piece with his dodge, which he did not want to have to do. Now he's trying to salvage this play. Okay. So we start out with a block on a loner peasant. Rerolls are back in place, so loner matters again. Yeah, it's Wolfhowl saying one thing, but and that's typically his strategy. Wolfhowl and I have talked before many times, and he is admittedly a very aggressive coach. He likes punching things and think about the consequences later, which is part of the reason why this is a good replay to start with. But yeah, there's ways of going for the 2-0, and minding the clock is a huge way to do that. So again, this, even if he fucked up and he wasn't able to punch the ball free, and you were right where you were, right here with the ball, would you have scored immediately here on turn 11? This is a genuine question. So, because that's the thing, two touchdowns for a team that's got movement 7 catchers is not putting the game out of reach, because that gives him 6 turns to try to at least tie it back, which is very doable when you've got 3 rerolls and you've got most of your positionals left. So he's not down players. Again, he wouldn't have been down rerolls. He's down up lodger, but he can easily 2-turn with 2 knights on the field. So that's the thing, is that, like, if you're trying to go for a solid 2-0 win, this is where knowing how to do the orc grind is useful. So, and you almost had it there. Like I said, you had a semblance of a cage. All you need to do was step over 1 square, and there's nothing he could have done to stop you. You just grind 1 square at a time and force him to have to come to you. You've got the mighty blow, so you've got the advantage. You've got higher armor as well. So but so looking at his turn, this is a very nice block to do. Even if you get the push, it puts him in danger of being served, which is absolutely fine with me. This is probably the block I would have started out with rather than this one. This is a valuable positional. This is a loner peasant. It does not matter. So its job is to get punched by you. This is a mess. I do not see a world where this blitzer gets on this blitzer. So there's just too many players in the way and not enough blocks that you can throw. You only get your 1 blitz. So standing him up would have been fine. Having this block work, then block here, puts this knight or this blocker in a very similar position. Put him in danger. So people do not like it in league setting when their players are in danger of getting surfed. So that leaves these 2 blitzers in a position to try to deal with this guy. So yes, it means that you're not clearing the ball entirely, but that's fine. You don't have to clear the ball this turn. Again, you're up 1-0. the best way to make sure that he can't do anything is by eliminating players off the pitch. And the best way, the easiest way of doing that is honestly surfing, when you've got higher strength. So, you're gonna try to pick up the ball afterwards. After you throw this block, that block, and you blitz this guy, you can try to pick up the ball. It's a 4+. It's doable. So you've got a line orc here who can try to pick up the ball afterwards. Or you could have him assist for this guy to blitz, and then you can have your guard try to pick up the ball. Either way, it doesn't matter. So, what I don't like is putting this guard here to begin with. I assume he's going to blitz here, because that's the only reason to move this blitzer here. But it's still not optimal. You're not using your guard. You have a guard skill that you've not used all game. Okay. Made the best of a bad situation. You rolled a push and you bounced the ball. It is a bit of a risky move because it obviously could have gone into his hands, but you at least put the tackle back on the one blodger. So, kudos there. I like that play. Or, I like what you did with the dice you rolled, I should say. I don't think that was necessarily the best move you could have made, but it's not bad. It's always a good day when you can put your tackle on the dodge. Good, mark the ball. I like it. So now you're worried about it getting him off. Yes. Using guard to help naked blocks from getting punched back is always nice, but at the end of the day, it still means you gotta be marking players, and that's not going to be the case by the end of this play, especially after this block. You get him off the ball, okay? So what? You don't have a player that can easily do it. This thrower could potentially run in there, but a thrower's not going to give a fuck about one assist. He's still 3+ sure hands once he gets down here. Put him on the sideline. Create stress. So, now the guard, because you followed up here, and because you didn't block him, is incidentally going to help protect the thrower. Because now you have an open corner here in your cage, but the guard's going to protect both these spots. He can't. It's going to be a 2-die uphill if he blitzes through here. So. Okay, I don't mind that block. That's a perfectly fine 1-die block to throw. Yep, that's the block you should have thrown ages ago. You know what? I don't mind this either. You made the dodge, you looked at it, and you said, fuck it, I'll throw a foul. Scum would be very, very proud of you for that one. So. And I didn't even realize he's got an armor busted blocker here, so that's even better. So, it is only a +1 foul, but it's your lineman was nothing. It's the least valuable player. Okay. So, what does this blitz do for Erieks? The answer is nothing. It's a trick question. There is nothing that this blitz does for him. It is completely pointless. So, because, okay, he wrestles it. Oh well, it slows him down a little bit. Yeah, fishing for the red dice would have been fine with Russell. Would have been absolutely fine. Worst case scenario, he gets a push. Not worst case scenario. I don't like saying that. But if he gets a push, it's possible. Erieks is not known for temperament, to say the least. But, and it was a bit of a bullshit play, but it's not unrecoverable. This whole game's been very recoverable for Erieks. And that's where throwing the 2-die uphill is completely justifiable. Is there a push play for him? Not really, because you'd have to fill one of these two gaps in order to get any kind of push play going. And he's down on strength and down on players that are available this turn, because he's got a couple stuns and one that's pinned. So, and you're looking at ridiculous 5-6+ dodges. So, but if he gets the push there, and you follow that up, you've now got a 1-die block on no block, or block on dodge, which is fine. That's a 1/3 chance that he's going to knock the ball free from there. You've got rerolls that you can play with. This was absolutely fine to throw a 2-die uphill on the ball carrier instead of this. You rolled the both down. So you wrestle him down. You slow the cage down a little bit, but not really. Because even if he has to stand up, he's not that much slower than the thrower. He really isn't. So, and he rolls a push, he makes it harder for this blitzer to do anything. Yeah. So, if he wanted to do something reliably constructive with his blitz, this should have blitzed here. You blitz here, you fish for 1-die push, and then you fish for another 1-die push and surf a blitzer off the pitch. That probably will have been his most reliable play. Yeah, the guard position is coincidentally just a really strong position. So, but those are the two plays I would have attempted. Try to surf here, or try to either wrestle or luck into pals on the ball carrier and slow the play down, but it doesn't really help you a whole lot. Push into 1-die pal, hope that the ball goes somewhere here, and run with this blitzer to recover. But that's a whole lot of relying on good dice. So, again, blitz here, you're looking at pal, stumbles, push, and push all being acceptable on there, so 2/3. And if you get the push, then you're looking at a surf, which again, you're looking at 2/3 options there. So both down, not really being a turnover, but not really gaining you anything in both those 1-die blocks. So, you got this peasant here, which again, I'm not really sure what the fuck this peasant could be doing. I would just run him back downfield and wait to see what happens. Because engaging here is the worst thing that he could do for his own health. And then, assuming that you've not turnover, you do the 4+ dodge. 4+, 3+, and try to get away here. Okay. Nope, he engages, which is a terrible decision. It doesn't offer anything, it just lets you get punched. I don't mind moving him up since we've already used the blitz. That's fine. There's a semblance of a wall off here, forcing the play further this way. Fend on these peasants is going to help slow this down. So, let's go back to the start of play. Alright. So that was the last action he had. Again, I still would have tried to dodge out, but he didn't. Okay. So, I think this black work is fine. If you could do a swap out with a line orc, that would be better. But if not, this is a perfectly fine matchup here. Leave the black orc there. No problems to be worried about. This is the mighty blow. This is the guard. Get out of the way. Please, cyanide, stop it. Peach is the one throwing a block, so the one with block. Alright. I don't like starting out with a 1-die block. I don't care if you have block or not. You've got one reroll. There's no reason why this blitzer, for instance, couldn't have done his job and blitzed. If he blitzes there, that's 2 dice with block. He fends into there on a push. Knockdown, you're fine. If you want a GFI, that's fine. Then you're covering 2 peasants. Gives this guy an opportunity to throw a block afterwards. Sounds good. See ya, Wolfhowl. So, but the point is that you want, this is the side you gotta make a hole. This is pretty well blocked off right now. So, your other option is to come in here with the black work. You come around here, but again, if you don't knock him down on this block, you've just walled yourself off a little bit. So, honestly, this would have been the time for an early blitz. Blitz there, get him there. You need to push him off there. So that gets you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can start moving in your black works. Potentially, if you need to, this black work can come over and help gauge up. So, because he's standing up, it's going to outpace a prone blocker. You also could just stood up Indigo. There's no he's not going anywhere. He's not throwing the blitz. Just have him stand up. So you threw that block, now you're walled off. Now you're still in a strong case where you can stay caged up. All you ultimately have to do, stand him up, move him back in this corner. He can throw this block on there. It's 1 die, but all you're fishing for is a push, and then your cage is safe. You have no one marking the cage at all. He's going to have to blitz something that's not your ball carrier next turn. This black work can afford to step out 1 square to allow him to throw a safe 2-die block with Mighty Blow. That will have been fine. So we'll see how this goes. Step back 1. No, 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 no. What is he doing? You have a blocker here. You know you're not advancing the ball anywhere this turn. You don't have people in position to foul. You don't have people in position to cover this corner right now. Why is he here? It doesn't matter if he gets to wrap around. If you're here, then you're safe. Why are you throwing one-die blocks with naked line Orks? I'm befuddled. You greeted a block that didn't matter. Why? Why? Why would you take such a strong position and throw it all away? I get it, you want to hit him, but there's going to be more turns. You've got 5 more turns to hit him. You wasted your last reroll for nothing. And now he's going to be able to come and sack your ball carrier because you committed too many pieces to nothing. Why is Mighty Blow not punching things? What? You had a valuable piece that you could punch. Why? There is nothing more frustrating in any game ever than watching bad plays get validated because some luck element saved it. This is one of those cases. You did so many bad movement plays that you had nothing else than to do this pass play to try to put yourself back in some semblance of safety. And it happened to work. And it shouldn't have. So, as I pointed out, there was a lot of luck elements in here. You wasted your last reroll on a block that did not matter. You left yourself wide open for a cage that would have been completely safe. When you're up in points and your opponent needs to get the ball, burning the clock is the best thing you can possibly do, which is what caging up would have done. You're already past the line of scrimmage. You're not in danger of him scoring anytime soon, even if he manages to get the ball from you. You spent your last reroll to knock over a player that's just going to get up and move around next turn. Yes, I understand. You finally got to hit, tackle, and dodge, because the poor positioning hasn't allowed you to do most of the game. But it was not worth committing 2 players, a reroll, and your blitz. There's a lot of resources. It's not just that it didn't help the strategy of the position. It's the amount of resources that you spent into it. And that's what you have to look at certain actions as. You're limited on the number of actions that you can do by the number of players that you have. You're limited on certain types of actions, such as blitz, foul, pass, etc. You can only do once a turn. Those are resources. Rerolls are resources. And when you commit a bunch of them to something that doesn't matter, it's a waste. It's like taking a lot of money and just throwing it in a trash can. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos. You just took resources, your money, and you got rid of it for no reason. You could have spent that towards something else entirely. So, and then, because you realize too late that you have 3 open peasants and an open blocker, which none of that should be open. All of those should be tied up. They, your opponent should not be able to dictate where these players are going next turn, but it can. So now you just paid your opponent because you gave him new resources in the form of action economy, where they can go do other things other than just standing up. So, good times right. You once you solved the errors, you did what you could to try to make up for it, and you made the pass play. Um, but it's totally something that shouldn't have been done, because anything could have gone wrong in here. You had 2 GFIs that this player had to make. You had a 3+ pass. It's got the pass reroll. We'll forgive that. It's a 3+ catch. So that's a lot of room for error just on these 2 players. So please tell me that you don't move the Black Orc. You move the Black Orc? Why? What does this Black Orc moving do for you? This peasant is going to be able to, has enough movement to reach the backside of here. Your Black Orc is not going to cover that. This peasant with 2 GFIs can also get back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go for it to hit. After this one makes 2 GFIs to go here. 3 GFIs. That's the amount of risk that he has to make to hit your Blitzer right now. This Black Orc maybe added 1 GFI that this guy had to make, because now instead of coming from the front, he has to do the wrap around on the back. In return, you have allowed this blocker to now do things that he should not be doing. So, this Black Orc could have, realistically, even if you just moved him 1 space, I still wouldn't like it, but you're still marking him, and you still cover most of the spaces that he would have stepping the full distance. So at the very least, he would have covered the spots that the ball would have landed. Now he's second guessing himself. Okay. This is at least better. Now it protects it against this assist. This guy still has the movement to get over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go for 1. He can still run over and tag here, and he can get up and blitz. If anything, this is still probably better. He doesn't even have to, like, he could do wrestle 1 die, but he can wrestle 2 die too, if he risks a 1 GFI from him. It's 1 GFI here, and 1 GFI here. So now it's fewer GFIs that Erieks has to make. And Russell's going to be hitting the ball carrier instead of a naked peasant. So this peasant should wrap around and cover here. And this one should probably come here and just pinch this thrower. So Orks do not their average speed. They do not outpace hardly anyone. So I think, trying to think, ogres, you outpace ogres. Yeah, Nurgle. Though realistically, you're just on par with Nurgle. So you're more agile than Nurgle than you are faster as Orks. I wouldn't even say that. Like, yeah, probably. standard dwarf team is only going to have 2 movement 6 to your 4. You know, but they still have 4 movement 5 guys, which is Wolfhowl's only fielding 2 movement 5 guys. So 3 movement 5 guys, sorry. So it's it's very marginal. Now granted, in the new rule set, the big uns got +1 movement, which I'm not totally convinced they really needed, but it's nice. Which will definitely make them faster than those teams. But you're still looking at 2 out of the fucking 25 other teams that are not Orks. So, this is certainly not one of those teams where your top speed is their slowest speed. So, we'll see what happens. Alright, where's this learner going to go? Is he going to come here? I don't mind this as much. I still think that the better option is to pin this thrower so he can't go anywhere. But this at least puts him directly in the way of where the ball is. So that's not bad. Not sure I like this spot. I would put him 1 off. Can limit the amount of movement options the Orks have without actually engaging them. So this seems like a completely arbitrary space to be in right now. Is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go, go. He's not even in scoring range. Yeah. I say, if he were here, then I would grant, okay, at least he's within scoring range. So 2 turns, no GFIs, I guess is something. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not until you get the ball. And until the clock gets down, I'm not sure that that's my priority. Limiting how much mobility these Orks that need to come over here have, I think is a much bigger problem. They move this peasant in. Okay, he's creating a wall. I like that a lot. True. It's his only chance to win, but again, the clock's not down far enough where that's my highest priority. But again, ultimately, this movement probably isn't going to matter as long as he was moving this way across the field. That's probably all that's going to matter in the long run. But because Erieks is not hurting on rerolls. I'm not worried if he has to make the 2 GFIs to score if he's a little bit closer and squeezing the mobility of the Orks. So okay, like good movement here on the peasant. So I like this peasant position. It's not blocking here, but it's overall blocking most of these players from getting over. So he's at least doing a job. Now, this I'm not terribly fond of. I don't like the angle. Because the only reason to take this angle is to try to hit him towards the crowd. which might be good in the long run, because it'll pin the mighty blue piece between a rock and a hard place. But if your concern is about where's the ball going to go, honestly, the ball staying over here is your best possible position. Again, you are going to outmaneuver the Orks getting back over here. If the ball gets tossed 12 squares back downfield towards where all the Orks are, that's the worst thing that can happen. So keep the ball on this side. Don't knock it into the crowd and have it go who knows where. Especially since you already stood up your dodge piece. Why? You had it. You had it and you wasted a reroll. The whole reason why you got Russell is for this. You wrestle him free, or wrestle the ball free. I understand he's trying to scatter. It's not necessary. And he didn't get it anyways. I would have much rather have wrestled that free and had to reroll to run this knight downfield. This is the one without dodge that hasn't moved yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right to there. It would have helped shore up this fence, especially against this AG4 dodger. So you can't just dodge out, because right now you can dodge out and dodge through on 2 pluses. So save the rerolls. It may not be exactly what you want, but there's no reason to greet it. How pissed would he have been if he had rolled pushes? Or worse, double skulls. All because he wanted to get a POW instead of a wrestle? It's not like he will have wrestled and the player will have been free. You had the peasant here to make sure he's not going anywhere. And he's still trying to brawl down here. So, I'm not a fan of that block. I do like this block that he threw. So, throwing the guard further downfield, away from everything else, A-okay. Okay. Properly didn't use wrestle. Good call. Always good to see a coach that has that set to optional instead of automatic. Where's this asshole blitzing? Why is this asshole blitzing? Yep. They sure have. You're right. He's got... Let's go back and review that turn some more. Should this even have been a block that he's worried about? The answer is probably no. So, where does the blitz need to come from? Ideally, you'd blitz this guy off the ball. Can you do that with him? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's doable. Or you go 1, 2, 3, 4. You dodge through the tackle zones. 5 for 1 die. That would have been fine. Yeah, he does have dodge. The thrower absolutely could have made the play here. I mean, even looking at this further. Say you don't blitz down here. Crazy, but hear me out. You have all these guys that are way far out over here. They're also his main agility pieces. If you just drive them into the sea of the crowd, that would be just as acceptable. So, this guy, throw the block there, block on wrestle, force him to have to burn the wrestle there. start driving these pieces away from the ball. You know you've got the agility advantage over here. So once you do that, you free up a line orc. If this guy wants to throw a block there, that frees up another black orc to move over here, tie up some of these peasants. Yep. Okay, so Peach did his job. Excellent. Leaves Amber now. What's Amber going to do? Amber GFI is over here. Not a fan of doing the GFI immediately, but it's not a bad move. So, again, trying to free up pieces to move downfield that's the big thing. Not having that reroll is what makes everything questionable. So, you've got a blitz here. If you blitzed with your blitzer on his blitzer, that frees up 2 black orcs. That's pretty good. So, you can move one over here to make sure that this knight's not going anywhere. Move this one down here to tag up here. Or you just say, fuck him. Stand this guy up as a distraction. Give him the tempting surf target. Move a black orc here. Move this black orc to mark the blocker. That sounds pretty damn good too. Not a bad use of the blitz. So, but again, all this would have been safer if he didn't burn the reroll last turn. So, this is going to get surfed. Don't think this is a bad decision at all. So, it does take his play away, his scoring potential away, and it takes away the blitz from down here. But again, you've got turns. You need to move this blitzer down over here. That should be the biggest priority this turn. Moving someone with agility down here. Okay, I like that movement. Okay, you got lucky on that block. I'm not sure I like that block there. It's 2 dice, but you need POWs. Versus just keeping him pinched. Because if you push, again, Thor's going to just AG2 dodge away. You got really lucky on that KO removal. That's worthy of a reroll. Attempt to pick at the ball, please. There you go. Oh, he's AG busted? Oh, he's AG busted. That sucks. I still don't mind the attempt. 5+ is not bad. You saved it till the end of the turn, so... That was a lot of GFIs. A lot of risk there. But I think you kind of needed to do it. Is this Indigo throwing this? Why is Indigo throwing this? Why is Bronze not throwing this block? Use. So Indigo's throwing this POW. I'm not sure why. It doesn't gain him any advantages. If Bronze throws this, you have the potential to free up one of these two pieces. If Indigo throws to block here, then Bronze can punch there and free up alignment. This is the worst combination of things of Indigo instead is throwing this block and frees no one up. So, I don't mind throwing blocks. Like I said, in general, throwing blocks is not a bad idea right now. So the pressure is still on him, and the people you're hitting are the people that are going to be able to handle the ball. Okay. Good retort from Erieks. But what's he going to do from here? Dodge out, dodge in, pick up the ball. Pray. Dodge out, and... Yep. Yeah, Snakes isn't going to do anything for you. But... this is where Wolfhowl's bread and butter of just punching things is coming in handy. Yeah, scoring is definitely now an option. And part of it is because he recommitted that wrestle piece. Part of it has just been overdue bad dice. Because let's be honest, up until now, Erieks' dice have been fairly solid. He's not had too many straight turnovers. He's wasted a couple rerolls from time to time. But overall, his dice have been fairly solid. His pickup game is the only thing that's been lacking so far. He's just failed to pick up a lot of the time. Yeah. Definitely could have been looking at a tie. And now he's got no one that's going to be able to reach the ball, or reach the end zone. Solid punch. It's a little late, but it still starts player points. Yep. So. Alright. What's Wolfhowl's best way of trying to punch this in? Probably to move and assist down here, blitz downfield, and then run in with the line orc, pick up and throw it. Something like that. Something like that. Got the ball. Yep. Failed to dodge. So. That was a Mighty Blow. The Mighty Blow hasn't done anything all game. I mean, he's done more than the guard, but... So, that was the game. So, could have been lots of room for improvement on both sides. Wolfhowl won this game by even by his own admission. You know, a pass that easily could have gone wrong. You know, just happened to work out. There are a couple things where there were, like that guard positioning was clearly unplanned, and could have been positioned better to have detracted any opportunity to gain the ball free. You know how to set up blocks. There were a couple times where you were very good about punch people into other people, and that's what you got to do against Fend. But there are too many times, like your early setups, where you could have done that even more. Making sure that when you punch, there is a goal behind it, that you're not just punching to punch things. I am punching this person because it will free up this person, because he is in the way of me doing this. That needs to be the next step in Wolfhowl's thinking. Is what is this block going to accomplish for the team? I think if he can answer that question more consistently, he'll improve more as a coach, especially with the Orc team. So, yeah, hopefully this will be a good learning tool going forward. So, sorry if I was overly critical during this. It's been a while since I've had to do a straight-up review. So, but we'll definitely work on trying to find more positives, so more things to talk about. But until next time, I believe we're gonna have the John McClane division push later tonight or something like that. So we'll be able to come back and play the next round of that match sometime later this week. Gas Invitational's over for us. OFL's over for us, so this is pretty much it. It's going to be BBPN all the way for the next couple months. Whether it's reviews or playing our own games with the Camry squad. So, but until then, Nuffle, bless your dice.